Step inside room 307 and vanish forever.
I didn't believe in cursed places. That's the first lie people tell themselves before everything goes wrong. Back in October 2019, I was desperate for work. Bills were stacking up, my savings were gone, and my phone buzzed every morning with bank alerts I didn't want to read. When I saw the job posting, night front desk clerk needed, no experience required, I didn't ask questions. The motel was called Redwood Rest. It sat off Highway 87 somewhere between nowhere and forgotten. Truckers passed it without slowing down, tourists never stopped. Even locals avoided it unless their car broke down nearby. The owner, Mr. Holloway, hired me on the spot. "You'll work nights," he said, sliding a thin contract across the counter. "From 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Quiet shifts, easy money." I should have noticed how tired he looked. Not old, just worn, like sleep avoided him on purpose. "Any rules?" I asked. He hesitated, then said, "Yeah, one." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "If someone asks for room 307, you give them the key. No questions." I laughed nervously. "That's it?" His eyes didn't move. "That's it." First night. My first shift felt normal. Too normal. The lobby smelled like old carpet and disinfectant. A small TV behind the desk played static more than channels. The guest's logbook was thick, years of names written in the same shaky handwriting. By 12:43 p.m., only 3 rooms were occupied. Room 102, elderly couple. Room 215, truck driver. Room 307, blank. I noticed that. Room 307 had no name, no date, no checkout time. Just a straight line drawn through it. I asked the cleaning lady earlier, "Is that room under maintenance?" She froze, then said, "I don't clean 307. Before I could ask why, she grabbed her cart and left. The first guest. At 12:17 a.m., the lobby door chimed. A man walked in, mid-30s, pale, wearing a dark jacket even though it wasn't cold. His eyes looked tired in a way sleep couldn't fix. "He needs a room," he said. I gave my customer service smile. "Sure, 1 bed or 2. He stared at me, then said quietly, "Room 307. My stomach tightened. I remembered Holloway's rule. No questions. I reached under the desk, pulled out the only key, and slid it across. "Checkout is at 11 a.m., I said automatically. He picked up the key and paused. He said, "I won't need it," then walked away. The noise. At 2:58 a.m., the phone rang. Room 215. "Yeah," the truck driver said, irritated. "Someone's walking around upstairs, been pacing for like an hour." Room 307 was directly above him. "I'll check," I said. I grabbed the flashlight and headed toward the stairwell. Halfway up, I heard it. Footsteps. Slow, heavy, back and forth. I reached to the 3rd floor. The hallway lights flickered, buzzing like insects trapped in glass. The carpet here was darker, stained like it had absorbed years of spills that never came out. Room 307 stood at the end of the hall. The door was slightly open. "Hello?" I called. No answer. I pushed the door open. The room was empty. No luggage, no clothes, no guest. The bed was neatly made, but the bathroom mirror was fogged and written across it, traced by a finger. "I'm still checked in." I stumbled back. The door slammed shut behind me. When I ran downstairs, the phone was ringing again. Room 215. He stopped walking, but now he's standing still, right above me. The logbook. At 4:10 a.m., I checked the guest logbook again. A new name had appeared, written in fresh ink. Room 307, checked in. The name, my own. And under it, where the checkout date should be, there was only one word: pending. That's when I realized something terrifying. Room 307 wasn't empty. It was waiting. I didn't leave the motel that night. I should have. Any sane person would have grabbed their keys, walked out into the cold highway air, and never looked back. But fear does strange things to logic. It convinces you that staying still is safer than running. By 5:30 a.m., the sky outside was turning gray. Morning was coming, and with it, people. Normal people. I kept telling myself daylight would explain everything. The logbook stayed open on the desk. My name was still there. Room 307. Checked in. No matter how many times I blinked, it didn't disappear. Mr. Holloway knows. Mr. Holloway arrived at 6:02 a.m., exactly on time. He stopped the moment he saw my face. "You went into the room," he said. It wasn't a question. My throat felt dry. "Someone checked in, asked for 307. He closed his eyes, just for a second. "Did you read the mirror?" I froze. That was answer enough. He walked behind the desk, flipped the logbook toward himself, and sighed when he saw my name. "It started again," he muttered. "Again?" I asked. "What do you mean, again?" Holloway sat down heavily. "I was hoping you wouldn't last long enough." The rules. He told me everything, or at least everything he was willing to say. Redwood Rest used to be a normal roadside motel. Back in the early 90s, it was popular. Families stopped there, couples argued there, people slept and left. Until room 307. There was a long-term guest, a man who stayed for months, paid cash, never asked for cleaning. One night, he didn't check out. Police came. No body, no blood, no forced entry. But after that, guests started complaining. Footsteps, voices, someone standing over their beds. And then, Holloway said quietly, people stopped leaving. "What do you mean, stopped?" "They checked in," he said, "and the room, it remembered them." The first disappearance. I went home after my shift, but sleep didn't come. At 1:07 p.m., my phone rang. It was Holloway. "A guest from last night, room 102. They didn't come down for checkout." My stomach dropped. "They're old. Maybe they overslept." "They didn't," he replied. I heard police radios in the background. "They're gone." Back to the motel. I told myself I was done. Then I remembered the logbook. My name was still there. By 7 p.m., I was back at Redwood Rest. Police tape blocked off room 102. An officer nodded at me, but didn't stop me, like he already knew I belonged there. The lobby felt colder than before. The TV was off now. At 9:59 p.m., the lights flickered, and then the lobby door chimed. The woman with no face. She walked in slowly, late 20s, long coat, wet hair like she'd been standing in the rain. "I need a room," she said. I swallowed. "I'm sorry, we're almost full." She tilted her head. "I only need one," she whispered. Her eyes lifted, or at least where her eyes should have been. They were there, but wrong. Too dark, too deep. "What room?" I asked, already knowing. 307. My hand shook as I slid the key across. She smiled, and for a moment, her face changed. I saw another woman's face underneath hers, then another, then mine. She took the key and said, checkout isn't real. Inside 307, again. At 11:44 p.m., the screaming started. It came from the third floor. A woman's voice, panicked, choking, overlapping with others, like several mouths sharing one throat. I didn't call the police. I already knew what they wouldn't find. The door to room 307 was open wide. Inside, the walls were different, stained with shapes that looked like handprints, but pressed from the inside. The mirror wasn't fogged this time. It was cracked and written in black, dripping letters, "We are all still here." Behind me, footsteps echoed, more than one set, and then the door slowly closed. The truth in the logbook. I escaped, barely. Downstairs, shaking, I opened the logbook again. Room 307 wasn't just my name anymore. It was pages of names, crossed out, rewritten, layered over each other. Hundreds, thousands, some dated back 30 years. At the very last line, freshly written, checkout requested, next to my name, and below it, in Holloway's handwriting, denied. That's when I understood. The room doesn't kill you, it keeps you. And it had decided I was worth remembering. After that night, time stopped behaving normally. I don't mean it felt slow, I mean the clocks actually lied. The lobby clock said 12:10 a.m. for nearly an hour. My phone jumped forward, then backward. Outside, the highway traffic thinned until there was nothing but silence, like the world had pulled away from the motel and left it behind. I tried to leave. My car was still in the parking lot, keys still worked, engine still started. But the moment I pulled onto the road, the headlights hit the Redwood Rest sign again. Same cracked neon, same missing letter, same feeling in my chest. No matter which direction I drove, I ended up back there. Holloway's confession. Mr. Holloway was waiting for me in the lobby. He looked worse than before, thinner, like the building had been feeding on him slowly. "You can't go," he said quietly, "not once your name's written." "Then why are you still here?" I demanded. He gave a bitter smile. "Because I checked out." My heart skipped. "What?" "I checked out," he repeated, "but the room didn't let me leave completely." He rolled up his sleeve. His arm was covered in numbers. Dates. Check-in dates. "They're the ones who tried," he said. "People who asked to leave. The room marked them and then took them." "What happens inside?" I asked. Holloway looked toward the ceiling. "They become part of the room." The third floor at night. At 2:30 a.m., the third floor came alive. Doors opened on their own, not slammed, opened, slowly, like something polite pretending to be human. Voices whispered down the stairs, not screaming, talking, laughing, crying, arguing, all at once. I stood frozen behind the desk as footsteps moved above me, dozens of them, pacing in overlapping patterns. Then the elevator dinged, the doors opened, and people stepped out. The guests. They looked normal, too normal. A family holding hands, a teenage couple, an old man with a suitcase. They filled the lobby, standing silently staring at me. The woman from room 102, the elderly guest, stepped forward. "You forgot my receipt," she said. Her eyes were empty, not dark, missing, like something had erased what made her human. "Checkout is at 11, another voice said. It came from everywhere. "Please," I whispered, "you're not real." The old man smiled. "We are," he said. "You just haven't stayed long enough." Room 307 explained. Holloway dragged me into the office and locked the door. It feeds on memory, he said. That's how it survives. Memory of what? Being alive, he replied. He explained that room 307 doesn't trap bodies, it traps moments, fear, regret, guilt, the last thoughts people have before they disappear. Those thoughts replay over and over. That's why guests hear pacing, why mirrors fog, why names rewrite themselves. They're reliving the moment they realized they weren't leaving, Holloway said. And now, he added softly, you're part of the rotation. The dream I didn't sleep through. At 4 a.m., I blinked, and suddenly I was in room 307, lying on the bed. The room looked different, newer, brighter, like it had been reset to another decade. People stood around the bed, hundreds of them, every face I'd seen in the logbook. They stared down at me. One leaned close and whispered into my ear, "You're replacing him." "Who?" I gasped. The room answered, "The man who never checked out." The man in the wall. I woke up screaming in the lobby. The wall behind the desk was bulging, breathing. A face pressed through it from the inside. A man's face, eyes wide, mouth open in a silent scream. Holloway fell to his knees. That's him, the first guest. The wall split, and the man stepped out, or what was left of him. His body looked unfinished, like pieces of other people were stitched into him. Hands, eyes, mouths that whispered in different voices. He looked at me and smiled. "My shift is over, and yours just started." The final rule. The logbook flipped open on its own. A new rule appeared at the top of the page. Rule number 1. There must always be a front desk clerk. Holloway began to fade. Literally, his outline blurred, pulling toward the 3rd floor. "I'm sorry," he said as he disappeared. "I trained you well." The lobby door chimed. A car pulled into the lot. New headlights, new guests, and my hands moved on their own, reaching for the keys, especially the one labeled 307. I stopped fighting the job. That's how it wins. The moment you accept the routine, keys, smiles, check-ins, the motel relaxes. The walls stop breathing, the footsteps slow. Fear becomes background noise, like the hum of a bad refrigerator. Night after night, guests arrived. Some walked in, some appeared at the desk without opening the door. Some already knew their room number. All of them asked for 307. And every time I handed over the key, something inside me felt lighter, like I was giving away pieces of myself instead. That's when I realized the truth. The room wasn't keeping them. It was feeding through me. The one guest who fought back. She arrived at 1:11 a.m. Young, early 20s, hoodies soaked with rain, eyes sharp, awake in a way most guests weren't. "I want a room," she said quickly, "but not that one." My hands froze. "What?" I whispered. She leaned closer. "I know about 307. The lobby lights flickered violently. "I saw it online," she said. "People disappear here. I didn't believe it until my GPS stopped working." For the first time since Holloway vanished, the motel felt nervous. "There's no other vacancy," I said automatically. She smiled sadly. "That's the lie, isn't it?" And then she did something no guest had ever done. She stepped behind the desk. The logbook slammed shut. The motel's real purpose. The walls screamed, not loudly, but deeply, like pressure cracking stone. She grabbed my wrist. "This place isn't a motel," she said. "It's a handoff point." "For what?" "For people who don't belong anywhere anymore. People the world forgot. Runaways, loners, the desperate." She pointed at the ceiling. Room 307 is just the mouth. The truth hit me like ice water. The motel wasn't cursed. It was designed, built where people naturally disappear, where highways intersect and memories fade. A machine disguised as a building. The plan. We can leave, but not together. What? The motel only allows balance. One clerk, one anchor. My chest tightened. You're saying someone has to stay? She nodded. But not you. Before I could react, she grabbed the key to room 307 and ran. The third floor erupted. Doors slammed. Voices screamed her name, names she didn't recognize. I chased her up the stairs, heart pounding. She stood in front of room 307, shaking. "Listen to me," she said. "When I go in, you run. Don't look back." "You'll die," I said. She smiled. "Everyone dies," she replied. "At least this way, someone gets out." She opened the door. The room inhaled, and she was gone. The escape. The motel howled. Lights exploded. Walls cracked. The lobby twisted like wet paper. I ran. Out the door. Into the parking lot. Into my car. The engine screamed as I floored it. This time, the road didn't loop. The sign disappeared behind me. For the first time in weeks, maybe years, I saw open highway. I laughed. I cried. I didn't stop driving until the sun came up. I was free. The message. 3 days later, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. One image. It was the Redwood Rest guest logbook, room 307. A new name written neatly. Her name. Below it, one word. Checked out. My stomach dropped. Then another message came. A selfie of me, standing behind a motel desk. The timestamp read 2:58 a.m., and the caption said, "Your shift starts tonight." The sun was blinding, but I didn't notice. My hand shook as I grabbed my coffee, trying to steady my thoughts. 3 days of freedom felt surreal. I told myself it was over, that I had cheated the motel, that I had beaten room 307. I was wrong. By 10:59 p.m., I realized I wasn't driving toward anything anymore. My surroundings blurred. The highway, the trees, the empty fields, and in the distance, a familiar glow appeared. The Redwood Rest sign, flickering, waiting. I slammed on the brakes, heart hammering, but it didn't matter. The motel was here, always here. It didn't chase. It waited. The welcome back. The lobby was quiet, too quiet. The TV hummed a static tune I had memorized. Dust motes floated in the air like they were alive. The logbook sat on the desk, open, and my name was there. Room 307, checked in. I vomited on the floor. My mind refused to understand. I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't hallucinating. My freedom had been an illusion. Then I heard it. Soft footsteps from above, back and forth, slowly pacing. 1, 2, 3, always counting, always waiting. The rhythm of the lost. I turned to leave, but my hands moved before my mind could stop them. The keys, the damn keys. They were in my hand, trembling, as if compelled by something older than reason. The shadows of the past. The lobby lights flickered violently. From the corner, silhouettes appeared. The old couple from 102, the woman who had vanished in the rain, the faces I had seen in the logbook. Every guest trapped, frozen in the moment they realized they could never leave. One by one, they came closer. I wanted to scream. I wanted to fight, but I couldn't. My body was no longer my own. My name had been written. My shift had begun. Then, a whisper. Checkout is never real. It came from everywhere and nowhere. The walls seemed to breathe it. The floor pulsed like a heartbeat. The ceiling dripped shadows. Every guest, past and present, was staring at me, waiting. I saw Holloway in a corner, fading like smoke. He mouthed words I could only hear in my mind. Balance. There must always be a clerk. Room 307 calls. The bell above the third-floor stairwell rang faintly. One guest, tall, faceless, wearing a wet hoodie, the one who had escaped me before, was standing there. Or was it just the room's reflection? Her hand lifted, pointing toward room 307. I felt it, the pull, like gravity inside my chest. My mind screamed, "Run!" but my feet carried me up the stairs. Each step was heavier than the last. By the time I reached the door, I could hear the whispers inside. Hundreds of voices now, all overlapping, all echoing, all alive. The door opened before I could touch it, and there it was. The room, impossibly larger inside than the building itself. Endless darkness stretching beyond the bed, mirrors reflecting names, faces, dates, moments of terror frozen forever. And in the center, a bed with my name written on the pillow in black ink. I fell to my knees, my throat locked. A voice, soft, patient, yet terrifyingly cold, said, "Welcome back. You've been expected." The shift begins. The room inhaled me. I screamed, I struggled, but there was no resistance, no escape. My body moved in ways I didn't command. My hands lifted the keys, slid the logbook open, wrote the first words of the next line. Room 307, checked in. A cold wind filled the room. The walls shifted. Guests watched, silent, waiting. The faceless woman in the hoodie whispered, "Balance is restored." I tried to speak. Nothing came out. My name, my life, my past, everything was slipping into the room. And then I realized I had become the new anchor, the clerk, the one who would never leave. The motel had chosen me. Forever. The last checkout. Outside, the highway was empty. No cars, no signs, only the faint hum of a neon sign flickering in the distance. Inside, the logbook waited. The keys waited. Room 307 waited. And somewhere, a new guest was pulling into the lot. The cycle continued, and always would. Because there is no checkout, only the shift.